we're doing this. Hello and welcome to another spoilerific review of a Discworld novel. Is this 14th or 15th one? Anyway, as you can tell by me wearing this ridiculously I forgot how heavy this helmet is. My replica Conquistador helmet. We will be talking about the Watchman. Actually, I need to take this helmet off. It is too heavy. I'm not that dedicated to the bit. Alright, so a helmet is safely on the floor, and we are talking about men-at-arms. Boy howdy! I swear the books just got better and better and better. So we are back in Ankh-Morpork, and what we are getting here is we get a crime novel, obviously fancy crime novel. We get mystery, we get murder mystery, we get thriller, we get racism, we get speciesism, we get a lot of ism, actually, a whole lot of them. And probably about 90% certain that this is the one only time that we get very close to characters having sex. Obviously not on the page, but it's very heavily implied. I think. I mean, don't quote me on that, but I think this is like... I'm not know. We kind of get misled in a way, but not quite in the beginning. In a good way. Because there's a twist in this book that when you read it the first time, you're like, oh, it's a good crime novel, good thriller. But I think, honestly, the red line running throughout this book is the myth of kings. Now, last time that we left the City Watch, the Night Watch, we left with Captain Wines, Corporate Carrot, Sergeant Colin, and... what is Nobby again? Corporate. No? It's Corporate Carrot, Sergeant Fred Colin. What is Nobby again? He is a corporal. Yeah, anyway. Yeah, so we had them having saved the city from a dragon and being themselves about it, but also this very heavy implication about Carrot. And this implication is something that is picked on, way on, and carried along further. Because it's the secret that everyone, well, I say everyone, when you read the books you are in on the secret, but the only ones in the canon who are in the know are Carrot, the patrician, and I'm pretty certain that Wimes knows, because he is smart and he is observant, he figures things out. But anyway, the open secret is, so in any other fancy novel, Carrot Aaron von der Son would be... he would be the king of Ankh-Morpork by now. Because there is everything pointing to him being the rightful sovereign ruler of Ankh-Morpork. He is the heir with a capital H. He's got the sword, he's got the birthmark, he's got the charm, he's got the charisma, he's got the attitude, he's got things that he is just naturally good at. But the thing about Carrot Aaron von der Son is that he has no interest in being king. It's probably a good thing. And that's something that is pointed out a little bit in this book, is that a generally good ruler would probably be the worst thing that would happen to Ankh-Morpork. I'm talking about this entire thing with Carrot because that is basically what kicks off the events of this novel. We have this character named Etoile Dieth, who is the last remaining Lord Dieth. I mean, it's got the apostrophe, so I'm trying to pronounce it like that, but it's literally spelled death. But I'm pretty certain it's pronounced Dieth. So he's the last remaining lord. His family has fallen on way hard times. There's nothing left of the family fortunes or lands or anything. They like have nothing left. On top of that, he is a romantic idealist. He is a trained assassin, and he figures out by observation and looking into a lot of history, you know, scrolls and stories and genealogy, and looking at lineages and looking at portraits of past kings and queens and all that. So he figures out the true identity of Carrot, and so the plot that Edward Diaz hatches is basically he's going to do something that will get Carrot on the throne, because that will magically make everything better for him. But of course that's because he's a romantic and idealistic, and that is probably the worst combination for anyone to be in. I mean, so that is the red line running throughout this novel. It's this background quest of this character and the things that he gets going. So Vimes as well is getting married. He and Late Ramkin are getting married, meaning that because of this elevation in status, Vimes is going to quit the Watts. He is going to basically become Sybil's house husband. And, you know, he's looking forward to it, but not really. Like, he loves Sybil, but he's a Wattsman. He's a Wattsman through and through. There's another change with the Watts, is that because of the political pressure put on the patrician by various groups, the decision has been made to increase the numbers of watchmen, and because of how things are, they decide to put the extra personnel in the Night Watch. And that would be Lance Constable Detritus, who is a troll, and we have met him before. Lance Constable Cuddy, who is a dwarf, flesh and blood, by birth, a dwarf. And then Lance Constable Angua, who, I mean, it says on the back, a woman most of the time. Because there's a wonderful revelation about her later on. We also get to meet Gaspard again, the wonderfully talking dog who, last time we met him, that was Moving Pictures, and when the magic of Holy Wood had left the place, that meant that Gaspard no longer spoke. But as he explains in, well, he's talking to Angua, he took to sleeping, I believe, on the university grounds, and the magic basically switched again, and he started speaking again, and he's miserable because of it. Because everyone knows that dogs don't talk, so people don't pay really attention to him. And dear lord, all the things this book, again, like I said with the last one, with Lords and Ladies, these books are so packed. They are packed with references, parodies, and so much plot. There's so much character in these books. Just all the things that are happening, and you're like, I know that one. I know that one. But of course, I mentioned a murder mystery, and that's because of poor, and I say poor Edward Diaz. So he is an assassin, and he hatches a plan to, you know, get things going in a direction that he believes that this should be going. There is a specific artifact within the Assassin's Guild museum. It kind of sounds a lot like the Black Museum of the, is it the London? Scotland Yard. Scotland Yard's Black Museum, I believe it's called. Sounds a bit like that, but neither here nor there. So there is a very specific artifact that the assassins have, which we later find out that the patrician entrusted to them to destroy. But because of this artifact being the way that it is, they didn't. And that's why basically this book happens. Another thing that we need to remember is that the Assassin's Guild and the Guild of Fools and Jesters, anyway, the Fools Guild, they are back to back. So you literally have the jolly halls of the assassins right next to the dark and somber halls of the fools. And this is important because of how things are pulled off. And it does involve a little swamp dragon, and that I always pissed me off, like what he did to the poor swamp dragon. The thing that happens so very often in on Discworld is that items have their own minds. We remember the talking sword. We remember. No, we don't remember that because. No, we don't remember because I need a reminder. Yep, we do remember. And we do remember the talking hat of sorcery. So, this artifact, in a way, it does have like a personality, a mind of its own, because the things that happen. I'm just going around about this in a completely wrong way. Why am I trying to keep this a mystery? This is a book where there's a fantasy gun, and the designer is Leonard of Quirm, who is honestly one of my favorite characters in the entire Discworld novels. Just Leonard of Quirm, he's by far, he's fantastic. He is the type of genius that his brain just runs ahead of him. Like his mind is so open to ideas that he does not get rest from them. He's tried to invent things, like let him rest and just close off his mind to the cosmic influences, and it doesn't work. His mind is so open. He is, I mean, judging from the name, he is a very direct parody, a mirror to Leonardo da Vinci, who was a Renaissance man. He was a man of everything. So basically we take Leonardo da Vinci and we run him by 100. And that's where we kind of get Leonardo of Quirm. He accidentally either invented or, in any case, built this thing called the gun, which because of how spelling works on Discworld is not spelled G-U-N, but G-O-N-N-E. And this thing does have a mind of its own. Like, I swear, like a lot of people talk about guns in our world. This thing is a fancy version, and honestly, the first victim is the dragon that is used in order to break out the gun. Well, actually, thinking about it, then we got a very unfortunate clown. Then we get a very unfortunate dwarf, and other people. Like, how many deaths are there in this book? I forgot to count. And then there's the beggar girl. Counting the dragon, that makes 6. Oh no, wait, then it's Big Fido. Yeah, I need to tell you about Big Fido. Because Ankh-Morpork is Ankh-Morpork. There's a dog guild. And the dogs that are there are all dogs that are bad dogs and have run away. And honestly, when I was rereading this, I'm like, this reminds me a lot of certain ideologies that have popped up in real world from time to time and constantly and repeatedly, and with certain ideas about a superior version of the people who subscribe to such ideologies. I'm not saying anything more. I believe that you can draw your own conclusion. And the dog that basically funds this, or not, it doesn't found the guild. He did everything completely different from any other dog before that. His name is Big Fido, and he is a nervous, farting poodle who will rip out your jugular. There's a dog guild. We know that because of Angu. I did just tell you that Leonardo Quim is one of my I mean, he's definitely on the top of my favorite characters. Angu is definitely up there as well. There's Lady Sybil, there's Angu, there's Rincewind, there's Granny, there's Nanny, there's Leonard, there's 11. So Angu is a werewolf. She's also the first woman in the Watch, so it's like, it's a twofer. Yeah, I think there's like about 7 deaths. No, wait, sorry, 8 deaths in this book. It's quite a bit, actually. Someone tries to murder Wimes, and of course they fail because he's Wimes and he's not deaf, and it all connects back to Karen. Like, this entire novel manages to revolve back to Karen, and it's just. And, you know, if someone is trying to kill Wimes, they also try to kill the patrician. But there's also just this development of character of the traders and Cuddy, because they are extremely antagonistic towards one another. I mean, one is a troll and the other is a dwarf. Those are two races that do not get together, historically. The development between those two, the friendship that they develop, the connection, is just fantastic. Like, so the end is very tragic. Like, I'm not joking. When I picked this book up, I'm like, oh yeah, this one. Oh wait, yeah, that part. But again, this is a book where Carrot directly kills someone. And this time there was no irony, there was no misunderstanding, there was no. He used his sword and everything. That's. So at the end of the book, there is a good ending. Carrot is made captain of the Watch, of the entire Watch. There's a complete overhaul of the Watch. Wimes and Sybil do manage to get married. Ingra and Carrot kinda have a relationship. I mean, they definitely have a relationship. There's just their version of it, and that is something that will be touched upon and explored a bit in future books. There is a very lovely interaction between Captain Karen and the patrician regarding the future of Wimes, who is made commander of the City Watch. And that's a development that I absolutely adore. Like, in the future books, it's just. Wimes doesn't get away. And the very last ending has Gaspode. How do I explain Gaspode? He got what he thought he wanted, then he gets what he knows that he wants. So the very ending is just like, you idiot. So at the very least, for the outro, I'm gonna with a helmet. It's really heavy though. I really love the cover of this book. I mean, you got a version of Gaspode here. Don't really understand there really weren't any in this book. Then you turn around and you get a certain someone with a certain something. So it's not like the cover doesn't. I mean, it's not really holding any punches. So yeah, that was Men at Arms. We are definitely getting a better taste of what these books are and what they are capable of. All the various plots, all the various elements, all the flavors, all the cultures. We get such a good introduction, particularly into dwarf culture. What they think, what they believe, how they feel. We get better introduction into trolls, the history between dwarves and trolls. We get further introduction into the foundations of Ankh-Morpork. Like, Ankh-Morpork is literally built on Ankh-Morpork. It's like, we get a further taste of the city itself. We get very nice look into the upper parts of Ankh-Morpork society, the elite, who Sam regretfully finds himself now part of, and those are probably the one cast of people that he does not absolutely not like. Like, he does not like anyone except Sybil. So yeah, that is my weird review reflection on Men at Arms. Which one is next? Soul music. Oh, we get soul music. I hope that you had at least some fun watching me ramble on about Men at Arms, and at least I hope you had some fun watching this, and hopefully you will see something else on this channel that you might like. I do have a playlist of me chatting about the Discworld novels. And yeah, quite a few other videos, so hope hiccup. I hope you had fun, and I hope I catch you some other time, okay? Until then, take care. Bless.